Hello, everyone. What a week, right? Here we are. We've got an amazing experience with Saturn right at the very end of Aquarius, getting ready to go into Pisces. Really good to ask ourselves, what am I learning? And what am I learning about being part of this global community? What am I learning about how my choices are affecting the future? And what is that vision of the future that I have? And how can I continue to contribute in a way that will support all of us going forward together? There's a lot more to say about that, but I wanted to just start with that because it is, Saturn for me, I'm getting used to Saturn. It's been sort of a lifelong process, but Saturn's here for our good. Saturn's here to give us an opportunity to really lean into the learning. I mean, why else are we here, right? We're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to love, we're here to be with each other. So thank you, Saturn, right? It's been tough though. I'm not saying it's not tough. We'll cover Saturn in Pisces next, but I just really think taking a pause. And also, as I said before, looking back 29, 30 years ago, what were you doing? What was happening? Now, if you're a child, it's a little bit different. But for those of us that have lived a little bit longer, we can go back and say, interesting. Same pattern is emerging. What do I want to do about it? And that's at least how I'm looking at it for myself. There's some similar patterns that have emerged, and Saturn's trying to get me to shift the structures and change things around and be more present with what is better, what is more excellent. And that's also a very Saturnian thing. So sometimes it's challenging, and I can attest to that, but there are amazing things to be learned and amazing changes to be made. And some of them are going to be unconventional. Some of them are going to be really about freeing ourselves from. That's not always easy. And I have a lot of empathy and a lot of compassion for when we are working with Aquarian energy, or we're working with Uranus, which of course continues to go through Taurus. There is that freeing up, that freedom. And in order to reach a certain level of freedom, there is always something, a discipline, a form that wants to come in. And that's very Saturnian. So that's kind of the energy we're in right now. And then there's Pluto hanging out at 29 degrees of Capricorn, really asking us who we are, who we want to be. There's a level of excellence there too. It's Capricorn. So how is it that I am being my full self? How is it that I'm expressing who I really am? So yeah, I always have the questions, right? But that's because the energy of the collective, it just, when we're at the end of signs, we are really looking at, what did I learn? Pluto hasn't moved into Aquarius in almost 250 years. So that's a long time, right? We weren't here before. And so taking the learning from what Pluto in Capricorn has done for us is really important. And there's a lot there. So as you know, I've been focusing primarily on individual sessions and going through people's charts and really diving into some of these areas with them individually. So that's where my focus has been. And thank you for understanding that as we move into these interesting times. I am going to pull some cards for us today, though. That is something I can do and enjoy doing with ease for all of us. So this is our collective read for this week. And we're using the Light Seers Tarot. I'm learning to say it correctly. And the first card we pull is the Sun. Beautiful card. And again, as always, what I like to do is just remind you to look at that card. What do you see? What do you notice? How do you feel? Let this card speak to you. I've got all these bird friends, by the way, speaking to me outside my window here. It's very exciting. Little robin and a little jay. They're all very interested. They're like, what cards are you pulling? So the sun. All right, that's our anchor card. That's our first card. That's pretty cool. Oh, but that does remind me, looking back at that card. Solar flares. Solar flares. Do you see that solar flare? Solar flares are scientifically proven to have an effect on us. So can I just say, yes, that's having an effect. Oh, and also happy full moon. Kind of reminds me of that too. Happy full moon in Virgo. I did not mean to forget you, Virgo. So sorry. There is so much going on, and the solar flares they're a real thing, and they are definitely affecting each of us in different ways, whether it's sleeplessness or just for some of us, just feeling fatigued because there's just so much energy pouring around. For some people, though, it's actually very uplifting and they get more energy. So she looks like she's doing okay, right? She's got a little more uplift there. Yeah, so, all right. I'm going to go to the next card and then I'll talk about the full moon in Virgo after that. Okay, next card. Okay. All right. This is the Six of Wands, otherwise known as the Victory card. See if I can get it to come into focus. I don't quite understand how to make it focus. You need to focus. Someone told me I have to bring it closer to my face, but I want you to see the card, not my face. All right, well, you get the general gist of the card anyway, even though it's a little bit out of focus. Yeah. How do you feel when you see it? What do you think? What's happening? What you can't see because it's out of focus is there's all these hands reaching up as if she's on a stage. So kind of interesting. Maybe you can see that. And she looks like she's doing all right. So far we have two cards with uplifted arms, which is very interesting. For those of you in the Embodying the Goddesses program, this might look a little familiar, right? Okay, so those two cards, the Sun and the Six of Wands, and then our last card. This card does keep showing up, doesn't it? It's an interesting card. Page of Swords. And even if it's not in focus, it's probably not all that not surprising. There we go. Yeah, so tight. It's actually not a tight rope, but a definitely balancing act. A book, lots of ideas, very mental card. A lot of the mental realms, which kind of, I mean, interestingly, even though Virgo is an earth sign, it is ruled by Mercury. So there is this element of thinking and a lot of mental energy with the Virgo full moon. For everyone, it's going to be a little bit different, right? Because depending on where it falls in your chart, which house it falls in. But in general, really looking at the details, really considering healing, health, how we're living every day, being gracious, being courteous, definitely diving in to some of the details. So I really am appreciating this card quite a bit, which is now not in focus, but okay, we did get it in focus there for a moment. So with these cards, the Sun, the Six of Wands, and the Page of Swords, I'll put them in the newsletter, which you've already seen because you wouldn't be here if you hadn't already seen the newsletter. Or maybe not, maybe you're just stumbling upon this. That's awesome. The idea here is to pull them together for yourself, collectively. I can look at this and say, okay, we're under this full moon energy. We're under some solar flares, so we can go literal with this. But the Sun, and there's another bird friend. Hello, more bird friends. Just being with the Sun, the energy of joy, the energy of connection, the energy of community, moving into this time of receiving accolades, feeling supported, feeling rewarded, feeling recognized, feeling that courageous energy coming to the surface, and then lots of new ideas. So I would venture to say that some of this has to do a little bit with Saturn, some has a little bit to do with Pluto, and certainly some has to do with the full moon. And as you weave this together for yourself, what are you noticing? What is surfacing today? And primarily with the full moon in Virgo, what is surfacing to be healed? What wants to be let go of? There's certainly plenty of support for that right now in terms of, we have all of this energy around us, all of us. Some of us are doing a lot more work, which is very Virgo, right? Some of us need to do a lot more healing and are recovering from things. And some of us are doing all of the above. And as today's energy unfolds, how do you want to utilize your joy, your enlightenment, your, and I'm going to throw Saturn word in there, your wisdom? How much capacity do you have to receive energy coming towards you? That's very positive. And what are your new ideas? What are the ideas that are going to serve us in the future? So those are my thoughts. And I'm wishing you very well for the rest of the week. There's there's always energy around us. The cosmos is definitely vying for us to receive support for healing. That is pretty much the biggest message I can give you right now. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday. There will be some gaps. Won't be meeting every Monday, but for the most part, we'll be meeting on the Mondays. And I look forward to introducing you to some new people and to some people we've already had on before. And I'm really looking forward to your individual sessions. That is certainly where I feel all this energy, right? These cards sort of for me does kind of actually describe the individual sessions really well. So that's where I'm putting a lot of my energy right now. And I'm really delighted to meet so many of you, and I'm looking forward to it. All right. Take care. I'll be back next week. All right. Bye.